What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching my channel for a while now, you know when it comes to Modern Warfare 3, I've been trying to keep a pretty level, mindset over this game. After being finessed year and year again, I think right now patience is key when it comes to this overall franchise. But I thought it'd be fun and creative to go ahead and put together a little tiny list of my top 5 things that if I were to see being introduced into this game would instantly sell me. Obviously, it might be still some problems to discuss when it comes to the game, bugs, glitches, all of the above, which obviously I'll always cover on this channel just to make sure the game improves. But when it comes to my overall mindset of this franchise, when it comes to being sold on Modern Warfare 3, and, in order for Activision to get any type of money, these top 5 things are the things that would have to be done. Maybe one of them, maybe a couple of them, but honestly, I feel like if all of them were done, they would sell me on this game instantly. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and dive deep into the topic of today's video, if you do enjoy what you hear today, and you want to hear some more content just like this, or even stuff about X-Defined, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell notification button. And of course, we do stream pretty much every day, but Sundays we are off, so we'll be back tomorrow on Monday over on Twitch. If you guys want to check that out, the link to that is down in the description of this video, along with all my other socials. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and really dive deep into my top 5 things, I do want to mention, of course, this is all opinion-based. These are just things that I personally think would really improve the game and instantly sell me back into supporting this franchise and, being a happy consumer. But of course, you all are entitled to your own opinions as well. So I would love to see what you guys have to say down in the comment section. What are the top 5 things or even the top 3 things that you personally would like to see that would encourage you to come back to this game? Unless you really enjoy these recent Call of Duty games, then obviously it's not much that, they need to do. They just need to keep impressing you with what they're currently doing. But if you are someone who has been disappointed year again, what are some of the top things that would bring you back to the franchise without any questions asked? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I'm not going to put them in any exact order, but I would say this is probably the least important thing, even though it is definitely something I would like to see done that would make me want to cough up money for Modern Warfare 3. At the end of the day, I don't believe this would be the deciding factor for me personally to go ahead and cough up money for this overall project here. But that would be acknowledging the fact that it's basically DLC. I think one of the biggest turnoffs of Modern Warfare 3 right now for me personally, and again, it's just all my personal opinion, other people share other opinions, but for me right now, it's a massive turnoff to basically see what could have just been potentially an update from Modern Warfare 2 being packaged into another full-price $70 bundle. And I know people are going to justify it by saying it has a campaign, it's going to have a co-op, it's going to have basically zombies, even though it's going to be half-ass zombies, and they're claiming it's going to be the best zombies known to mankind. I was going to make a video about that, but I guarantee it's not. But because they're adding on, all these other features, it's a full-fledged out project, but in reality, it was DLC. Again, I know Activision never confirmed that Modern Warfare 2 was going to be a 2-year cycle. I understand that was never, ever said. You can never look back or find any details where Activision specifically said that Modern Warfare 2 was going to be 2 years. But 9 times out of 10, when there is a rumor like that, or anything that would, cause any type of false hype that's not real, Activision always comes out and addresses it. Always comes out. Whether they're false rumors or if they're real rumors, they'll just completely copyright the stuff and they're taken off the internet. So we've seen Activision do it time and time again. Why the very first time that I ever see them not acknowledge something, it's when the whole community is finally excited that we might potentially be getting a 2-year project. Why didn't they say anything then? Why didn't they come out and say, oh yeah, that's not true. That's not going to happen. We're still on our yearly project basis. Why did they never completely acknowledge it and tell the community that that wasn't a thing? Again, they wanted to finesse people with Modern Warfare 2. They wanted people to believe that this game was going to be 2 years, so they cough up $70 expecting it to last that long, and then they find out that another game is coming out, another premium title for Call of Duty is coming out a year later, $70 again, and then when we all complain and we all, come back and say, well, this was supposed to be DLC, there's no proof on the paper. So one way to go ahead and earn back my personal trust and loyalty, and I'm assuming a lot of others' trust and loyalty, is to bring up a price point that seems logical for this game, $30 to $40, and I can guarantee you that the expectations of your community will be much better, and you will definitely see a happier fan base, at least from my personal viewpoint. Again, share your opinions down below. All right, next point that I think would be very crucial for this game to bring enjoyment and encourage me to go ahead and cough up money for Modern Warfare 3 and support Modern Warfare 3 is variety in gameplay and a hyper-focus on the hardcore rushing community. Now, I don't want this to be a game that is, only run and gun, only movement. No, obviously, everybody has to be welcome. That's why I said I want a variety of gameplay across the board. I want to make sure that all the weapons feel unique enough. I'm tired of this day of age in Call of Duty where every gun can be turned into anything. Any SMG can be turned into a long-range SMG, close range, medium range. Every AR can be decked out to close range, medium range, long range. Every TAC rifle could be close range, medium range, long range. Even LMGs could be decked out for close range, medium range, long range. There's nothing to actually add variety. Basically, everything can do everything. Back in the day, like, let's think of Modern Warfare 2, for example. The F2000 was a perfect assault rifle for running gunning, right? That was your AR, like the FFAR current date, or, something like the Honey Badger, where you can take that weapon, you can actually engage with SMGs. It might not always win because the SMGs will obviously have a better fire rate and, better ways to maneuver close quarters, but that was your AR of choice to get into up-close engagements. Never would you really think of actually engaging people at long ranges. Sometimes you could, if you burst at least, but if you go up against someone, let's say, with an ACR, it's going to be a massively different story. Maybe you could tap someone with an SMG across the map, or get lucky enough against someone who might be a little bit in a lower bracket than you, who is using, an ACR, SMG, whatever it is. But if you're versing someone of equal skill and they have an ACR, you know that they're meant for long range, and they're going to change their gameplay and change their playstyle accordingly. And that's what I want out of Call of Duty again. I'm tired of the same old when it comes to weapon balance. There's no variety in classes, no variety in gameplay. Everything can do everything, and it gets a tad bit boring. And then, like I said, I also added in the focus, obviously, for the Russian community. Since, obviously, the recent Call of Duty games have been more prioritized to the camping community. Vanguard, probably the least. Vanguard and Black Ops Cold War. But even in both those games, they have definitely been taking a bunch of inspiration from Infinity Ward with Modern Warfare 2019 on trying to slow down the pacing of what Call of Duty is all about. I want them to just switch that all around, go back to the days of, the jetpack CODs, Black Ops 4, all that other stuff. Infinite Warfare was, another game that I also want to mention this as well. Infinite Warfare might be the first Call of Duty game that Infinity Ward actually produced that was fast-paced. I know everybody always hates on it, but seriously, that was Infinity Ward's fastest-paced game ever known to mankind. It's insane. I understand it's a jetpack game, but even if you never used your jetpacks, it's still faster than anything Infinity Ward has ever put together. So, it's one of the reasons why I did enjoy that game back in the day. It was a very unpopular opinion, but I did enjoy it. But at the end of the day, I want them to focus on making sure rushers don't have to struggle 24/7. I'm not saying make camping impossible, but I'm just saying maybe not give them so many freaking advantages. Giving them so many ways to have perfect positions, power spots, where any person in the world can grab a power position and turn it into a fortress. Back in the day, if you got a power position, you had to be a good player to hold it down. Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, like you see right here, Black Ops 2, Call of Duty 4, World at War. If you got a good power position, you had to have the skill to be able to maintain that power position. Of course, you got things to assist you, but at the end of the day, it came down to the player, if they could actually hold it. Nowadays, like anybody, little Timmy over there can easily hold down a power position with all the tools that he has at his disposal. So again, I want variety with the weapons, and I want a hyper focus on trying to, change the style around. Instead of giving campers and slower players more of an advantage, give people who want to play OBJ and actually push and play the game, more variety, more tools, and more ways to enjoy the game. The next thing I have written down here on, things that obviously Sledgehammer or Activision can do to encourage me or anybody else in the community to cough up money on their franchise again, is having communication. Sounds so simple, but seriously, it's something that has been lacking year after year after year. And they bait us with communication. They do. Every single time the beta comes out, or a little bit before the beta, the developers are out there, they're making little mini blogs and chatting it up with features and chatting it up with the community. But once that game drops, it's all downhill from this point on. I mentioned it time and time again that I'm going to wait until after Season 1 because I find that that is the crucial point to see if the developers are still going to be prioritizing and focusing on working with the community, or if they're just going to completely ignore us and, throw us in the trash. And on top of that, I would go even further and say, not only do I want communication, constant communication throughout the whole life cycle of Modern Warfare 3, but I also want to see a focus on 6v6 fixes. Warzone always gets all of the attention, all the way up until current date, until the end of the life cycle of whatever game that we're currently in. Always. I make this example all the time. Modern Warfare 2, guess what? Bugs are still active. Some horribly game-breaking bugs like the UAV glitch are still present in 6v6, have been just absolutely ignored for months on end. Still no resolution for this stuff. And then Warzone gets fixes after fixes after fixes. There's never anything that lasts long in Warzone when it comes to negative bugs. And on top of that, they add in new features and new introductions like the blind eye ghost thing, where they add a little bit more counterplay into Warzone to spice things up. Creative stuff that would actually be fun to hop back into the game and try out, experience. But we don't get any of that stuff in multiplayer. We don't get any creative changes, any things to actually shift stuff around, shoot even any meta changes anymore. The same meta weapons have been in the cycle for Modern Warfare 2 for the whole life cycle. We have not seen anything switch up. And obviously, you can use different weapons, but I swear, the amount of times I've seen Tax and Vaznevs are just insane. It blows my mind. So yes, that is a crucial feature right there. Having the developers communicate with their community. Again, sounds so simple, but seriously, it's something that's very crucial. The Call of Duty developers never do it after launch. So, communication and also major fixes for 6v6. Much more fixes and a lot more focus on that compared to Warzone. Now, the next thing I have written down here kind of follows up when it comes to, them having communication and focusing on 6v6 fixes. That is focusing on 6v6 content as well. I gotta be honest, this day and age of Call of Duty, it's nice to see it branch out and have so much stuff to do. Ground war and, gunfight and all these different things. Warzone. But it takes away from the core experience of COD. Back in the day when you got an update or DLC, it was for multiplayer. The hype was all around 6v6 multiplayer. Nowadays, we're drip-fed content. The first couple to a few seasons, we're barely even getting by with, if we're lucky, 2 maps, where we're barely getting anything at launch in the game. So it takes a good 4 to 5 seasons just to get the base game to a regular amount of content that we will see back in the day with a launch game like Modern Warfare 2 2009 or Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 1. It takes 4 to 5 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, to even get anywhere close to the base amount of content that we had back in the day. Because they're spread too thin. There's not enough focus on 6v6, and they're putting more focus on different modes. And I understand having unique maps for like gunfight and stuff makes the game mode feel a little bit more genuine, If they copy and paste maps into gunfight, it's not going to feel like a very legit game mode. It's just going to feel like something that's half-assed. But honestly, I really don't give a crap. I want 6v6 to feel prioritized, and the other modes can follow up. They could have easily made a ton of 6v6 maps and just cut those 6v6 maps down and put them into gunfight. They do it with Warzone maps and putting them into ground war. So why can't they do that with gunfight? It would just save so much time, and they could focus all their creativity on making 6v6 maps instead of trying to bring in brand new worlds, brand new maps, brand new experiences with gunfight and a game mode that is pretty popular. People enjoy gunfight, but again, do I have to say it over and over and over? 6v6 should be the main priority of what Call of Duty is all about. So gunfight, as cool of a mode as it is, they should be prioritizing making content first for 6v6 and then porting it over to gunfight, at least for the time being. If they have enough time to do both, then do both. But from what I see, they don't. They struggle to even put in the tiniest amount of content across the board for all these different game modes, which means they're stretched too thin. So yes, that right there is indeed another thing that I would love to see introduced that would encourage me to cough up money for this game, because if there's not going to be any focus for 6v6, the thing that I love, then what's the point of even buying in at all? And then, of course, the final point of today's video, which, in my opinion, is the most crucial point. And honestly, even if they ignore the rest, and this point right here is resolved, I would probably cough up money instantly for Modern Warfare 3. But that is skill-based matchmaking. Now, I know, skill-based matchmaking is a very controversial topic, but when it comes to Call of Duty, it's horrible. It's way too thick, way too deep, and they manipulate way too much of your gameplay when it comes to COD compared to any other title out there. Skill-based matchmaking is always going to be needed to a certain degree. There's always going to have to be skill brackets, so people can still enjoy the game. But the way that the matchmaking in Call of Duty manipulates people and individuals into coughing up money and purchasing skins out of their store, putting you up against certain opponents so you can actually have it advertised right in front of your face, and on top of that, making you compete like your life depends on it every game that you possibly play. Call of Duty went from the most casual game I could possibly think of for FPS titles to one of the most competitive, sweaty games. And there's nothing wrong with competitive, sweaty FPS titles, but that's what COD was there for. We don't always want competitive, sweaty stuff. Sometimes people want a first-person shooter game that they can hop on after work, after class, after whatever they have to do after a long day and just relax on. They don't want to excel. They don't have to do outstanding, but they just want to be able to relax. Call of Duty, the way the skill-based matchmaking is nowadays, that's just simply non-existent. You don't get that type of experience. And it's funny because it's only in COD. I can play every other game out there, and the experiences are 10 trillion times better. But if you hop back into Modern Warfare 2, 2022, or Modern Warfare 2019, or Vanguard, or Black Ops Cold War, I guess those games aren't as relevant anymore because there's not that many people on them, so the matchmaking is a little bit more lenient. But whenever you hop on the most current Call of Duty game, mixed with, just already sweaty player base that's already playing it. And then you have matchmaking that is forcing you against, ranked competition every game. Instead of just going into ranked, they're forcing you to do that in casuals. It ruins the overall vibes. That right there is a huge game changer for me. And I will say, if they bring in good communication and we get a full year of Sledgehammer constantly putting out updates, constantly making blogs, constantly, trying to fix things for 6v6, putting a hyper focus on 6v6, producing tons of new content for 6v6, 6v6 is the main priority. If we get a whole year of that, I think that's enough to persuade me that, yeah, this might be a good year. But still, skill-based matchmaking will hold it back to a certain degree. This right here is single-handedly one of the things that would change the tides of just the downfall of Call of Duty in a blink of an eye, in an instant, if they decide to go ahead and flip the switch on it. But sadly, I don't think that's actually going to happen. I feel like the way the matchmaking is going to stick for as long as we could possibly see in the foreseeable future. But yeah, that's my last point right there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to drag it on too long for you guys. Those are my top 5 things that I personally want to see if they want to, get any legitimate money out of my pocket and get any type of support from me. And I don't know about you guys. Again, it's my personal list. I would love to know what you guys think down in the comment section, what you guys think they need to do to go ahead and resolve and, get your trust back, get your love for the franchise back. Maybe I shouldn't say love for the franchise because we can all love COD, especially if you're an OG, you've been playing it for a long time. You can acknowledge what's happening now while still loving what Call of Duty used to be in the past. But at the end of the day, I really do think that these things right here would resolve a lot of problems, and it would allow a lot of OGs and, just people who enjoy Call of Duty to come back and actually dive deep into the franchise again. But of course, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. As always, if you want to see some more stuff like this, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell. And last but not least, we do stream pretty much every day besides Sunday, so not today. We'll be back on Monday. We'll be over on Twitch for the final week of this month. But don't forget, we do stream basically on Kick all the time. So next month, starting on the 1st, we'll be back over there, over on Kick. You can find the links to that, both channels, my Twitter, my Discord, all down in the description of this video. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.